Hi everyone, my name's Jordan and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a little check-in on a video I made right when I started BookTube. I think it was my third video. Basically, the video was a list of all of the series I want to start in 2022. So I wanted to do a little check-in for myself and also for you guys on kind of like where I'm at in that and if I'm staying true to that list. I will link that video down below. The original video. Keep in mind, it's one of my first YouTube videos, and I have gotten much more comfortable filming since then, so some of it is a little awkward, I guess. Basically, I'm going to list off all the books that I said I was going to start, or all the series I said I was going to start, and I will just talk about if I have started them, what I've thought if I did, and kind of when I plan to start them if I haven't. So, let's get into it. The first series I said I wanted to start is the Live Ship Traders Trilogy by Robin Hobb. This is the second series in the realm of the Elderlings, and if you've watched any of my videos, you know I've read this. This has become one of my favorite series of all time. It is set in the same world as the Farseer trilogy, but in a different area following different characters. And in this part of the world, there are these live ships, and basically what a live ship is a ship that is made out of this wood called wizard wood, and then a family owns it, and 3 successive generations one person must die on the ship, and then the ship is quickened and becomes a live ship. And so basically, like, the figurehead on the bow of the ship can talk and has a personality, but it also means that they can typically sail faster and they are stronger. And it's just kind of like this very magical world of ships that can talk. And we follow this family who their 3rd generation is about to die on the ship. And the daughter thinks that she will be the one to inherit it. And instead, her father leaves it to his son-in-law. And it's just like this very well developed story. I have a full series review that I will link above. It is a phenomenal series. Some of the best characters I've ever read, some of the most well thought out plots. The resolution to the series is one of the most gratifying or satisfying series endings I've ever read. I felt like all of the plot points, all the character arcs were wrapped up so nicely. Robin Hobb is a master. Next up on my list of series I want to start in 2022 is The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne, the first one being Malice. I have not started the series yet, but I'm very excited to, and I hope to start it in the next month or two, probably around October-ish. So this series, I don't know a whole lot about. I know that there are a lot of POVs, and I know that it has kind of a very traditional fantasy vibe to it, with giants and different fantasy races and things like that, and war. So I'm very excited to get to it. I've read the Bloodsworn Saga, the first 2 books that are the only ones that are out, and I love it, so I have very high hopes. I've heard that the first book is a little harder to get into because there are so many POVs, but that we definitely pick up the pace as the books go on, and I've heard that it's a lot of people's favorite series of all time. So I'm very excited to get to these, hopefully sooner rather than later. I still plan on reading these in 2022 for sure. If not the whole series, I want to at least start it. Next up, I have the Winnowing Flame series by Jen Williams, the first one being Ninth Reign. This is a series that Elliot Brooks talks about all the time on her channel, and I'm dying to get to it, but I keep having other books take priority. I still really want to start this year. I'm hoping October, November I can start it. I want to at least read the first one. I have absolutely no idea what it's about. I've heard that it's just weird. It's just so bizarre. And I've heard nothing but good things about the few people I see talking about it. So I'm really excited to kind of join the small hype train that exists around this series, and hopefully I love it and can get more people to read it as well, because one, the covers are all very pretty. I think they're all really well crafted, and the series just sounds good just from what everyone says about it. Even though I have no idea what it's about, I feel like I'm going to love this series because Elliot Brooks recommendations never miss. She's the reason why I read Fireborn, so we all know how I feel about Fireborn. Next up, I have The Locked Tomb by Tamsin Muir, first one being Gideon the Ninth. I had said in that video that I had listened to Gideon the Ninth, the audiobook, but I wanted to retry reading it to see if it would grow on me if I read it physically. And again, if you've watched any of my channel, you know that I did reread it physically, and I have also read Harrow the Ninth, and I am obsessed. I am a full Tamsin Muir stan. I have basically based an entire D&D character off of Gideon. I actually had made the D&D character first, but then when I read Gideon the Ninth, I was like, wait, my D&D character is just like Gideon. And so now, like, all of my characters' characterizations, I'm like, yeah, it's Gideon. She's Gideon. So I love this series. Harrow the Ninth is one of the most spectacularly crafted books I've ever read. It is so unique. It is so well written. I don't want to get into a lot of spoilers or anything, but just the way Tamsin Muir has written this series is phenomenal. She leaves these perfect breadcrumbs throughout because so much of the story is very confusing, but she leaves just enough breadcrumbs to keep you invested. And her prose and her banter between characters is just so well thought out that even when you don't know what's going on, you are so enraptured by these characters and by this story. So I love this series. I'm dying for Nona the Ninth. I will be reading it as soon as it comes out. So I am on pace with this series. I am obsessed. Next up, I have the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie, the first one being The Blade Itself. I have read all three of these. I recently just finished the third one, which is The Last Argument of Kings, and I have a full series review that I will link above. This series fell a little short for me. I talk about it more in that video. It wasn't bad. The writing is incredible. I just didn't really fully feel connected with the characters. But overall, I'm glad I read it, and I just recently finished one of the standalones, Best Served Cold, and actually really enjoyed it. I do think it was way too long. Like, I got bored at around 400 pages, but those first 400 pages were incredible. So I'll get more to that in my wrap up, but I am on track with this one. I have finished this trilogy, so far I'm doing pretty good on this list. Next up, I have Discworld. This is like a huge series of like 42 books, and you can start at a bunch of different places. They're kind of like standalones, I think, but all set in the same world. I have not started it yet. I know that all of the books are pretty small. It just feels so daunting because there's so many, and there's so many different spots you can start at, and I'm just so intimidated by this series. I really want to get to them because I feel like they're going to be really good filler books in my months. Like, I feel like I can read them in between really large, dense fantasy novels, and kind of, it'll be like a breath of fresh air. I've heard that they're funny, they're well written, they're short, so I really want to read them. I'm just very scared. However, I hope I can get a couple of them knocked out this year. I'm still hoping I can get to them. Fingers crossed. Next up, I have the Lightbringer series by Brent Weeks. This series, I read the first 1.5, and then I DNF'd. I didn't mind the books. They were funny, the banter was good. I just didn't really care. I wasn't really engaged. I wasn't like loving it. I was just like, it's fun enough, but I was just getting bored. Like, I don't really have anything I can pinpoint that was exceptionally bad. Well, Brent Weeks writes women really poorly, but other than that, I felt like the plot was good enough, the characters were funny, but I was just so bored. I was just not invested. I didn't care. And I was like, I have so many books on my TBR that I really want to get to. I am not going to waste my time reading these really large books that I don't think I'm even enjoying that much. So I've decided to set it aside. Maybe one day I'll come back to it, but it is not on my priority list. But I tried. I started it, and in that video I said, I want to at least start all of these series, and I started it. The last series I talked about in that video was the Tawny Man series, which is another series in the realm of the Elderlings by Robin Hobb. I am planning on starting this series next month, I believe. Alex over on Tall Guy Reads is trying to get through all of the Realm of the Elderlings, so I've kind of decided I'm going to try to pace myself with him so that I have somebody to talk about as we read them. It's not really like a legit buddy read, but we're going to try to like pace ourselves together. We'll see how that goes. But Tawny Man, I'm very excited to get to. This is the third series in the Realm of the Elderlings, I believe, and I am so excited to start it. After how good Live Ship was, I'm just pumped to read every book in this very large series. I do think Live Ship was better than Farseer, but I still really liked Farseer, and I believe Tawny Man we get back to Fitz. So I'm excited to kind of get back to Fitz and then kind of see how the Live Ship stuff ties into the Fitz stuff. I know that they really tie together in the Rainwild Chronicles, I believe, which I think are like a hot contested series within the Realm of the Elderlings. I think people either love it or hate it. I'm going into it with very high hopes. But I'm curious to see if we get some of those Rainwild tie-ins within this Tawny Man trilogy. We'll see. I try to go into each of these series not knowing a whole lot about it because I really just feel like her writing is so good that I love to be surprised. I love to go into it just kind of knowing nothing and letting her completely immerse me in these stories because she is a master at it. So I am very, very excited to get to Tawny Man. Hoping to do the first one next month sometime. So that is all of these series I talked about in that video I made back in like, I don't know, it was like February or March. I don't remember when it was. But let's see. I have started 4 out of 8. So I've started half of the series on this list, and I'm hoping to get to the rest of them this year. I think the only one that's kind of up for debate is Winnowing Flame and maybe Discworld. I really want to start those this year. We'll just see if I actually do. I think 4 out of 8 is a really good start, considering there's still like 5 months left in the year. I can't do math right now. 4 months left in the year. So I have high hopes. I also have some other series that I have prioritized over some of these. Like I really want to read the Dandelion Dynasty, at least start it soon. So like I've moved my TBR around a little bit since I made this video. So some of it has shifted, which is why I haven't gotten to some of these yet, because I've been reading some other trilogies. But that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I don't say it much in my videos, but I am on Instagram. I do talk a lot of bookish stuff over on Instagram. You can find that link down below. You can also find my link tree, which has links to some of my other reading sites like Goodreads, StoryGraph, things like that. So check that out. If you really liked this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know some series you are hoping to get to this year and if I should prioritize some of these over others. If you really like my content, please hit the notification bell to be notified every time I post new videos. As always, your support means the world to me, and until next time, thank you guys.